singer-songwriter, a great guitar player. He's from South Africa. He's named Carlo. He makes music which is incredibly uplifting, and he's a great speaker of truth.
So I think it's important. It's like you kind of speak the same language, so that's what you need to have, somebody that can understand you, if you know what I mean, where you're coming from, how you relate to life, all the things you experience and that. So I think it is important, yeah, definitely. You need that connection and people to bounce ideas off and and you know, encourage each other. And when I started playing music, we were still the apartheid thing was still going, and obviously I didn't gel with that at all. But we didn't have a lot of bands coming to South Africa to play, obviously because of sanctions and that. So you're kind of cut off. Although you obviously could access, you could hear, the albums and tapes were there in those days. But I remember starting playing, I would play with the African people, you know what I mean, I would go down to the river or would be walking through the streets they would have penny whistles, I'd have my guitars and we'd be playing, like I grew up, learned this Kwela music, this African, so I learned this offbeat stuff. You wouldn't have a lot of, amongst the African people, yes, I think that's forever been in their, like music is their life really, they got music for everything. You would have had a lot of cover bands, people would be playing cover music in bars and that, and I think there weren't a lot of successful people writing original material on that, so I never gelled with me, like us having to live apart or see other people oppressed, or that, you know, because of the skin colour somebody's like supposed to be less than you or something, like I just, you know, that wasn't. So those were my early days. That's how I started writing. My music was always kind of protest music, because I was always somebody that felt music was a vehicle to say something. I wasn't somebody that was going to just be an entertainer. I had to, you know, I think for me the biggest inspiration when I started music was like Bob Marley, and I thought, like, you know, I want to be like a guy like that, because he's talking about things. There was a big awakening from that age. And like I connected, and like there's a lot of empathy to see people suffering, and like, but I felt also like a lot of the African people was playing, like we could have a good connection because they were singing the same thing, you know, they were under oppression, and they were also, like I felt like a oneness with them, you know, like this is what I want to do, like, you know, this is what artists should be doing. We should be talking about things that are wrong. We should be a light for the world, you know, like we should be using our art to expose things, to encourage people, you know, in all sorts of ways. So
what was your first instrument? Was it guitar?
Guitar, yeah.
When did you start?
Oh, I think I was probably 16 or something, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was in South Africa?
Yeah. I had, you know, since I'd left South Africa, I'd kind of given up on music then. I mean, I think I had an acoustic guitar with me when I came over to Ireland, but I didn't even really play it much, to pick it up here and there. And I think it wasn't until it was about 2010 again, then I was thinking, okay, now what to do, and like life was a bit complicated there with lots of different things, but basically that again, I landed up selling my amp and sold the guitar, and then like just because of pressures of life, you know, it wasn't going anywhere, and I was like, okay, well, pity about that. But I always used to listen to those demos often, you know, and I always just think, well, like, you know, I don't know, there's something there, but I would have just suppressed it, I just got on with life again, and I think, like, this is what you're supposed to do, like, do it. Like, no, as I said to you, I felt a year ago everything came crashing down and everything was gone except music was blooming. Gives me meaning to life, if you know what I mean, really, because as I said, and I just picked up my acoustic then, and I was just played these songs that I remember that I wrote, and then it was immediately I started to get creative, I started to write, and I write a lot. I always get so many ideas, so I just had to, if I block off that flow, I think it's not good for you, as you know, if you're an artist, in that you're kind of rejecting, I don't know, you're like a stream that should flow, and if it's not, the water's getting stagnant, it's getting pocketed, it's not moving. Tomorrow the sun would still rise, like the birds would still be flying, nature, it's like that wouldn't all come to a standstill, it's like the sun would still be there. So this is just it's a man-made thing we have. So if you if you're pursuing what's, what you kind of born to do, it's not going to, if you pursue that, shouldn't allow pressures of society to stop that.
It's ideally we should be encouraged to do, like society should encourage us to do the things that we love, and because we're good at the things that we love. And surely society is better for having happy people who are doing things that they love. But also, even from an economic perspective, it makes more sense to have people who are like proficient at what they're doing. Like if excellence is the goal, and excellence produces a thriving economy and a thriving society, and even just like more capital, if from a fucking capitalistic point of view, it still makes more sense to encourage people to, number one, like look after themselves on a basic level and be kind to themselves, but as a part of that, doing what it is that they're great at. And that's probably slightly different for everyone, but I believe that there is a thing for everyone,
For sure.
and it might take you a while to find it. You might be lucky and find it very early on, like we did. You might be stupid enough to walk away from it then for a while, and then realize that your life is falling to shit, and maybe that's part of why. And
you're an artist, you need to express yourself. That's period, that's form, that's
need.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
All about is, it's even music, a song. I would see it as a picture. It's a picture I'm painting. I'm not trying to write it to get a hit song. I'm not trying to make it so long. This is, I'm doing it till I'm satisfied with. That's how it should be presented, and it's about expression. People should just, if they're too caught up about how will I earn a little bit, you have to just express yourself, and from there it will start to happen. If you have to let yourself out, and then the doors will start to happen. I think you don't let the fact of how will you make it doing this be an obstacle to you, if you know what I mean. I remember a story, I watched some interview as a North African musician, but he was told like, they didn't have guitars where he lived. Like one day a guy came to play and he was like, whoa, like I have to do this.
Really?
And like
that band you showed me?
No, it's similar to that Tenari Wen, but one of these guys who plays this kind of from Mali, somewhere there, and he and then he had the guy that used to play music came there, and he used to, I think what he used to make the guy food and tea for a chance just to play on his guitar a bit while he did that, and the guy named. And then eventually he used bicycle brake parts from bikes to make guitar strings, and like he didn't let any of it. And like now today he's actually got his music's been on movies. I feel like I'm singing on behalf of like the Mother Earth kind of thing, because it's about just people thinking about the planet we're on, and like how could they find a way to make life better, and to reconnect with her. Just has a certain issues that like she's tired of war, suffering, pain, and like you've got to find a way that we can kind of move beyond these things, and I think we as people need to be more connected to nature and the planet and each other in a more harmonious way. So I think that song's really about finding a way, just however your way is, to find a way that's connecting back to nature, and that we can all live harmoniously and more in balance.
How can people like listen to your stuff? Where do you circulate?
Well, it's all on it's on Spotify, iTunes, all those sort of platforms.
Is it?
Yeah, YouTube.
SoundCloud?
Yeah. I think that's the people can access.
It's a good way to access. Yeah.
It's a free platform, so SoundCloud. Yeah.
And have you any plans to kind of put together a full album?
Yeah, well, I have enough material, so I think that's what I'm doing in the meantime, just recording with singles.
Singles at the moment, and then you'll have an album.
Yeah.
Pretty soon.
Yeah.
It's a nice way of doing it.
I think so, and it's been nice.
It's the old way of doing it.
Just really. Recording each song, it's helped me. It's helped me to develop a lot and kind of grow doing it, because each time I record another song, I see that I've come on a huge amount since the last one, if you know what I mean. It's like everything's improving all the time, and my ideas and everything. Yeah. So it's like, and I got a lot of confidence back to myself. When I started, I was a bit like, ooh, gee, I don't know. But like, I just broke through that. I just had to. I was in the studio, and you have to do it. You know what I mean? So
Those late nights. I was there for 1 or 2.
yeah.
You just find this energy from nowhere. It's amazing. You know, it's what you're hearing back is just giving you energy. It's like you were saying. It's the real energy.
But I do think like now, I do think a lot, especially even like I have these feelings going into a new decade. Decades change with things. I don't know, it's my own sense that artists will start to emerge in a big way. Pros and cons to like digital stuff, but I think maybe a lot of young children, they're quickly playing stuff on iPads and that. It's not the same as being disciplined to learning. So that's part of your growing.
I was going to make that point.
You pay your dues. You have to pay your dues in a sense.
It can pull you out of your body and have you kind of in your mind a lot. Which, and like you say, like the physical thing for me, it's a big part of music. Thanks, Greg.
Yeah,
thank you.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did that.